Welcome back, everybody, to Just Keep Parenting. Thank you for joining us again. If this is your first time joining us, we are having a little discussion about easy to love, difficult to discipline, the 7 basic skills for turning conflict into cooperation. Great book by Becky Bailey. We use it here in the lab school on a regular basis with our teachers, and they're starting to use it in the public schools. And it's really helping children to better self-regulate, and it's exciting. It's exciting to watch it being used in the classroom with the teachers, and what the evidence, right, is even more amazing as I watch the kids learn how to self-regulate, to use a tool. Yesterday, we had kind of a stressful day. We had an electrician in the bathroom, so the bathroom was out. We had cranes bringing stuff so that half the playground was shut down, so they had to come in a different door, go out a different door. It was stressful. We had a teacher that ended up sick, and so we had somebody in the classroom that had never been in the classroom before. And my student teacher was doing an amazing art project and giving the children choice charts. So we had all these new things going on, and I kept walking by the secretary's desk and squirting me a little lemon lotion. And she finally said, after about the 5th squirt walking by, she said, "So are you okay today?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just calming myself." She said, "I guess I don't know that strategy." And I said, "It's conscious discipline. And I know where I know what stresses me out, and I know what makes me feel better." And she said, "Well, you're always bringing it up to your nose." I said, "Yeah, because I'm taking a deep breath." So I want these children in all parts of the world to figure out what they can do, right, to self-regulate their own emotions. We all have them. We have to figure out what works for us. So as we continue talking about, let's see, I think we're in chapter 6 right now, which is talking about encouragement, honoring our children so they can honor us as well. So today we're going to discuss pages 125 through 128, where it talks about, can praise be discouraging? In last week's video, we talked more about the general ways that we praise, and the question was posed, can it be discouraging, right? Because we want it to be encouraging, but there's lots of research out there that shows that certain praise can be discouraging, right? The reason that we talk about praise is because we think it fosters self-esteem, right? There's that notion that if we give praise to children, that they're going to have a great self-esteem, right? But actually, after 2 decades, right, of research, it tells us that certain kinds of praise are actually dangerous to children and their self-esteem. So that's what I want to talk about today, right? And so as we look at damaging praise, these are some things that that we need to think about in our parenting and in our teaching, right? The first one is, if we give too much praise, too much general, right, that all-encompassing praise, that can unduly burden the child, right? So if they feel pressure to meet unrealistic standards, right? They try to live up to it, and they've got all this anxiousness and all this anxiety because we continue to give this praise. She says it really great in here. She said, let me read it to you. "Perhaps you grew up hearing, 'You are always,' right? So sweet and helpful." We know that 2 of the words that we shouldn't use in our vocabulary is always and never, right? Because we just can't do that. We can't live up to those standards. Perhaps hearing this again and again left you with 2 options. You could try to live up to the perfect image that adults had bestowed upon you, or you could act out, right? Hoping that your parents would see the real you, right? And so as we think about that, sometimes in a classroom or in home, we think we have a perfect child, and then we have the demon child, right? And actually right now we're working right now with that situation in a classroom where we do have a perfect child in a situation, and they have a sibling that is really struggling right now. He's doing some acting out because the perfect child is a little overpowering, and the second child isn't having the autonomy that he needs to grow. So we've been talking about this. with the parent. And it just makes so much sense, right? Because we can't live up to that. You're always doing this. You're always doing that. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm not the perfect child, right? And so then I try to act out so that I can show them that I am the real me. So that's the first one. The second one is giving too much praise that relies on value judgments, right? It teaches them that good equals pleasing others, right? And bad equals displeasing others, right? And so we refer to this as children who are always falling short, or children who grow up being judgment junkies, right? And I have some of those as my college students come in. I will say to them, we read a great article called the Ophelia Syndrome, and it's about Polonius and how he, just says, open up your mouth, Ophelia, and I will give you all the knowledge that you need. And Ophelia doesn't know how to think anymore, right? That's what we refer to as this judgment junkie. Because they're the students that say, well, your assignment didn't say like how many pages this is supposed to. Is it supposed to be double spaced? What are the margins, right? They're all of a sudden, they don't know how to function. They don't have those life skills because they have been judgment junkies, right? Good equals pleasing others. Bad equals displeasing others. So if I'm doing all the right things, then I must be pleasing you. This week, I even had one that came in and she said, so can I just do like bullets on this assignment, or do I have to do it in paragraph form? And I said, were there any instructions? And she said, well, not very many. And I said, that means I don't care. That means that you can do it your way as long as it meets the description. Oh, so I can do bullets? Yeah, that's your way of communicating, do the bullets, right? And so we're creating this from a young age, right? And they don't know how to think. They want to get that A. What do I do to get the A? And so I'm hoping that as we help our children think through things, right? But it's not just the children. As adults, we have to be able to, if we want them to do it a certain way, great. But if we don't, give them the autonomy to open it up and do it their way. The third thing that Dr. Bailey talks about is praise that focuses on what you think or feel about the child's behavior teaches your child to seek approval, right? And so this is a form of getting and not giving, right? It communicates to the children that we like them when they please us. Oh, I really like how you're sitting today, right? And all of a sudden, everybody on that front row is doing this, and they're looking to see, right? Really, is it, I like what you're doing, or I like that you're listening. You're showing me that you're listening because your eyes are looking at my eyes, and I can tell that your ears are ready to listen because your eyes are looking at my eyes, right? And so giving them that feedback and not praising them, right, for the child's behavior, right? The fourth one is only praising your child for well done, completed tasks. Teaches her that the effort does not matter, only the accomplishments do, right? So it's a checklist again, right? Wow, you did it. Great job. Awesome sauce, right? And it's like, wait a minute. Yesterday I saw a child, and the student teacher had done 6 choices, and they could do 4 of the 6 choices. And they were different art mediums that the kids were using. They had vegetables, they had sprinkles, they had thumbprint, ink pads, they had watercolors, they had sponges and toothbrushes, different mediums that they could use to make art. And one of the little girls, oh my gosh, her pumpkin was absolutely beautiful, right? And even after all these many years, my thought process was, oh my gosh, that is a beautiful pumpkin. But my teaching brain caught me before I had to rewind. And I just said to her, oh my goodness, you have worked so hard on that. Look at all that. You've got it all colored in. You've got different colors on it. It really is beautiful, sweetie, right? So talking about the process and not necessarily the product, right? And then the last one she talks about is praising your child by comparing her to others. Oh, right? That just makes me feel bad. It teaches her that in order to be valuable, you have to be like that person. You have to be special, right? So we're promoting competition, which could build conflict instead of cooperation. One of my teachers last week had this amazing experience. She was doing a memory game with kids, and she was turning it. She had a lot of blocks down, right? And I was worried about it because I thought, well, maybe there'd be too many blocks, they couldn't be successful, right? And we know about Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, that if we go too high, then they're going to check out, right? But if we don't go high enough, then they're not being challenged. And so we got to get that zone right. And I was afraid that there was too many blocks out for them to be successful. But she moved some away. And then the kids, she said, well, so it's your turn, and then you get to keep all of your matches. Well, we had kind of a drag out fight. Not really, but the kids were, well, you got more than I did, and I didn't get very many. And so as we debriefed that day, I said, so what do we know about this age of children? She's like, they don't deal with competition well. I said, no, because it's not online, right? And so I said, you were posing it as kind of a competition in the way that you discussed it. And she said, okay, so I don't want to have competition, and so I have to start it that way. I said, yeah, this is your center. You're the adult in charge. So the next day she was there. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful, folks. She said, boys and girls, we're going to play the same game that we did last week. And some of the kids were the same children that were there. And she said, but we're going to change it. We're going to change that we have to put the matches into a group pool. So every time you get a match, you just put it over here into the group pool. There wasn't any arguing. There wasn't any competition. And she said to me afterwards, that was amazing. Because they can't handle competition right now. And yet sometimes as caregivers of children, right, we praise them by comparing them to others, right, rather than comparing them to themselves. This has been a real an eye-opening experience for me as teachers, right, because they're self-comparing, right, but my job is not to self-compare them, right. Look at what you did here, look at what you did here, and I'm not saying, look at that teacher over there, she's got it all together, right? Look at that parent over there, right? We're all starting at our place on the continuum, and our job is just to move forward. We may move forward 3 steps today. Tomorrow we may regress the step, right? That's how it works, right? As we learn and move forward. So we all know people, right? Maybe even ourselves, right? That have had these types of experiences, these types of praising experiences. And I think sometimes I was amazed that all this damage could happen just from me praising children, right? And it doesn't mean that we're bad. It doesn't mean that we're uncaring, parents and teachers. We simply are using the form of praise that we were raised with, right? And so now is the time that we can say, wait a minute, if this is that disparaging, what can I do about it, right? As a parent, as a teacher, right? So next week, you guys, I want you to think about just these general approaches to damaging praise. But next week, we're going to talk about a healthier approach to praise, right? And that's the first step, is just being aware. So that's what I want us to work on this week, is just be aware of what comes out of our mouth when we talk about praising our children, right? Are we using one of these 5 damaging ways? And if we are, just say, great, we're going to stop this. We're going to do something different. And next week, we're going to talk about that healthier approach, right? So this week, let's listen. Let's be introspective, right, as we prepare ourselves for next week's chapter, which is offering healthy encouragement. So have a great weekend. Thanks for joining Just Keep Parenting. Share if you will. It's just one of those things. I just want to give people lots of pats on the back, right, for what we're doing well, and what we can change a little bit in making our world a little healthier. Thanks everybody for joining.